Yeah, you're right about that, Lou. It truly is on all sides of the Northeast. You have people saying, count every vote, we will wait. But then in a place like Arizona, that's not the same picture. They are saying stop counting the votes right now. Let's get right to it. Here's the buzz. I want you to see this video that came in overnight. Dozens marching down the streets of Philadelphia holding up a large banner that said count every vote Wednesday night. The rally comes as mail-in ballots are still being tallied in the battleground state of Pennsylvania. And a crowd also marched in Pittsburgh holding up signs and chanting that no one should undermine the electoral process. Now here's some video from Arizona showing people gathering outside of the election office in downtown Phoenix, and people were seen waving Trump 2020 flags and signs. Even at one point, some of the protesters attempted to get inside of the elections building. Officials formed a line out front to keep the crowd away from the doors. And you know, as people are waiting for the results, everybody's on the edge of their seats. Officials say right now they just want you to be patient. And of course, once that is once we know who is going to be the next president, then we'll be sure to bring it to you on air and online.